The Apex games. Legends fighting on the grand stage for supremacy over the other legends in a battle royale where skills, abilities, and movements combine for the world to watch, both in-universe and in ours. While the game has been around for a while now, the game and its predecessors have unveiled a memorable roster of not just legends, but also weapons. The most recognizable family of weapons in the series is the R-101 series, which can be modified to fit different mission profiles. And within one of those variants sits a weapon that has dominated CQC and constantly fights shotguns for king of the close range in Apex Legends, the R-99. Now, the parallels from the R9 and its closest match in Battlefield 6 is pretty obvious, but let me do my thing. The R9 has the fastest fire rate in the game at 1,080 rounds per minute. Incidentally, Battlefield 6 does have an SMG that has that same stat. For this build, we'll be making a compromise. Not a base R9 loadout, but also not a fully kitted one either. We'll be looking at a middle-of-the-road blue loadout, similar to what you'd find in mid-game, or the loadout that you'd be offered in Mixtape. As for our choice, Battlefield 6, there is one clear choice, both visually and statistically: the KV9. So with our goal to make a blue vector, we first have to make it look more like an R9 visually before changing it to resemble the gun statistically. So first up is the very noticeable inclusion of a vertical foregrip, and judging by the looks of it, the R9's seems to be based off the Magpul vertical foregrip that has been cut down. So with that, our pick is the stippled stubby. A really strong option as it lowers the recoil and increases precision while also giving us faster ADS speed, which at close quarters can help you if you feel you're just a little too far to reliably hit anything with hip fire. The only downside, beside its hefty cost, is that you do lose movement speed while aiming, which is not horrible as you still get a generous amount to begin with. Now let's get back to the normal modification of the gun before accessorizing it. First off, we're looking at the barrel. The shortened barrel of the default sadly isn't enough to match the R9's velocity and looks. So for our build, we'll be looking at the 6.5 inch extended barrel, upping our velocity to 435 meters a second. This is as close as we'll get to the 482 meters a second the R9 boasts. This will make it that we can hit moving targets with more consistency, but the projectile speed boost we get mixed with the rate of fire doesn't do enough to reliably hit targets outside of close range. Next up, ammo type. While we'll get to the magazine itself later, we'll decide the ammo type, since Apex Legends doesn't have an ammo type system. So for that reason, we'll just stick with the default FMJ rounds. Previously, the R9 had a headshot multiplier of 1.5, which would have necessitated an ammo change. But after Season 18, that was reduced to 1.25x. So for our sake, the FMJ rounds is a slight upgrade from the post-patch R9. The fact that bullets in Apex also don't have penetration also makes the choice of FMJ an obvious one. And next up, magazine. The reason why we were waiting for our choice is for a little context. So with Apex, weapons have changing magazine capacity based on the magazine level. The R9 can have capacities between 18 and 27 with 3-round increments based on level. And it just so happens that all the magazine options available match or are close to those capacities. With our blueprints aiming to match an almost full blue kitted R9, our option will be the 23-round magazine. 1 round off the blue R9s, partial reload does add an additional round, and that matches the 24 round we're aiming for. Additionally, the reload times of a blue stock for the R9 is 2.29 seconds, which is close to the 2.384 seconds of the Vector, which means the loss of the fast mags is a non-issue for our purpose. With the magazine basically taking care of the stock and magazine slots, the last 2 slots still need to be addressed. The easiest one to cross off the list is the laser. And for our choice, the 5 megawatt red laser. The reason why is that the hipfire modifier in Apex for a blue laser sight is 20%, which is identical to the red laser of Battlefield 6. Yes, the reduction to max hipfire spread is halved compared to Apex, and we do miss a few other bonuses because of the simplified attachment system of the game. In Apex, lasers are not visible to the enemies, just like the red laser in Battlefield 6. While not the best laser sight option in-game, the generous hipfire of the SMGs makes the hipfire for the Vector incredibly small, even if it is only 20%. Playing the Engineer class will also give us added benefits, which almost makes the Vector more accurate fired from the hip than aimed. Last up, the sight. A lot of pros and regular players may choose to just use the iron sights, especially if they have specific skins of the R-99 that offer very clean basic sights. Since there's no downside in Apex to attach an optic to the gun, and also since we're basing our loadout more on the default one from Mixtape, and we do have enough in our budget to add one, we'll just take the Miniflex 1X sight. While common on the battlefield, this option is sadly really the closest sight zoom-wise and look-wise to the HCOG red dot sight from Apex. While not as clear as the futuristic sight and also not as open either, it's still a clear sight for Battlefield, while also matching the 1x zoom level. Had this been a pre-September 2022 patch, the EOTech SU-231 sight would have been a perfect DigiThreat substitute, or even the new THRDS if we change a few choices around to offset that massive cost. So that's our build. One that finally utilizes the whole budget while also managing to hit all the goals we set out. The R-99 and the Vector share the same role in their respective game, a close range bullet hose. A gun that shoots really fast and rewards close range tracking, aggressive play, and quick snapping to target. The downside is being just a little off in any fight can mean the difference from a quick kill or missing a full magazine and losing the battle. The Vector does have great control stats due to its Super V system, and yes, it has the highest stat in the game, but the downside is the short barrel, even if we extend it, just doesn't add enough range to really break the Vector through to a more rounded option. While yes, you can still get some kills at longer range, this is somewhat offset by the Vector's pitiful precision, second only to the CZ3A1 at the bottom of the stats for SMG. Yes, some of the attachments did make our precision a little bit better, but it's still not enough. So focus more on keeping the engagements close range. Avoid open areas for too long. So this makes map knowledge key to making this weapon and build work. If you need to move in the open, hop from cover to cover and use the high output of lead to your advantage by flanking and surprising enemies. If you ever get caught by surprise in close quarters, you can also just use the small hipfire spread to make the enemies think twice about pushing you. To be at the top, you need to master the high skill weapons. Hunting the enemy and pouncing on them only adds to your legend. Use this loadout to vector closer to being the champion. Finally, be the predator and catch your prey. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time for another Weapon Blueprint.